Notice that we have the same parts as before. We've got our piston, connecting rod and crankshaft. The area surrounding the crankshaft is known as the crankcase, so that is this section around here. You can see we've got some labels here, it makes it a little bit easier to understand what's going on. We've got air and fuel. Fuel is usually indicated with an orange or amber colour. And for our purposes, we've used blue as air. The reason that we have half of the arrow blue and half of it orange is because we've actually got an air-fuel mixture. That means that the fuel is mixed in with the air. I'll explain to you how that works in a moment. And here we have exhaust gas indicated by a black arrow. So, what's happening? Let's play the animation a moment. Again, you see the piston moving down, and we're going to see it moving back up in a moment. The crankshaft is rotating, and there are arrows popping up every now and again to show us what's occurring. This is a two-stroke engine, so let me walk you through exactly how it works. Two-stroke and four-stroke engines are internal combustion engines. That is because combustion occurs internally inside the engine. It actually occurs within the cylinder liner, that is this space here, and we also refer to it as the combustion space. In order to have combustion, we need three things: oxygen, heat, and fuel. These three things are used to make a fire triangle. But where are we going to get the oxygen from? Well, we get the oxygen from outside the engine, specifically just ambient air. We can draw the oxygen in with the air through this space here. This is known as our inlet port. We can see now that the air is rushing in, and we have some fuel that is mixed with the air. So we'll mix the fuel in with the air before it comes into the crankcase. Now I know we said we're going to be talking about diesel engines early on in the course, but I want to mention here one important thing. The type of fuel used with two-stroke engines is almost always petrol. It's highly unlikely that you're ever going to encounter a two-stroke engine that uses diesel. The only time that I've ever seen this is on very large container ships, oil tankers, very large ships. They will use diesel-fired two-stroke engines. So if you want to take a very general approach, just say two-stroke engines are petrol-fired only. So the fuel is mixed in with the air. It is drawn into the crankcase. It flows into the crankcase, and then it is going to sit within the crankcase space. But we can see that there is another transfer port over here. So we have our inlet port. We can get the air and the fuel coming in, fill up the crankcase, and then it's going to travel out of our transfer port. It's going to come up here, and then it's coming into this section here. So it's coming into our cylinder liner. Notice, however, we're not going to get the air and fuel up into the combustion space because the piston is blocking that. So let's see what happens when the piston comes down. The piston comes down and it covers up the air and fuel inlet. So we're no longer going to get air and fuel coming into the crankcase. And when the piston travelled down, it's actually compressing the air-fuel mixture in the crankcase and it's squeezing it out of the transfer port. See, it's coming up here, and just round about here, it's starting to escape into the combustion space. So it's coming into the cylinder liner. As the piston continues downwards, it's going to reach the bottom of its transit, and that's the point we actually call bottom dead center. Let me just highlight that because that is a very common term that you should definitely get to grips with. Let me just show you that again. Piston coming down, shut off the air-fuel mixture or the air inlet port. Bottom dead center. The piston does not travel any closer to the crankshaft than where it is now. So we'll call that bottom dead center, or BDC. The opposite of BDC is TDC, which is top dead center. We can play that again, and let's just have a quick look because we can see top dead center as well. The piston is as far away from the crankshaft as possible. That is top dead center. So now we know those terms. Let's try it again. Here's the piston coming down. We're heading towards bottom dead center. I'll pause the animation, and now you can see that the transfer port is completely uncovered. The piston's gone all the way down. It's compressed the air-fuel mixture in the crankcase. It's essentially squeezed that out into the cylinder liner, and now the piston's going to come back up again. So now we've got our air and fuel, and the thing that we need now is a source of ignition. So remember the fire triangle: air, fuel, and heat, all of the things we need for combustion. I should actually say specifically here, we need the oxygen that is contained within the air for combustion. So not just the air itself. So perhaps I should call that oxygen, heat, and fuel. But we've got the oxygen, which is contained in the air. We've got the fuel because we just drew all of that in through the transfer port. And now, if we compress all that, whenever you compress a gas, its temperature increases as its volume decreases. Not only that, but as you compress the gas, its pressure will increase as well. So just remember that, compressing a gas, pressure increases, temperature increases, volume decreases, and then when we get to top dead center, round about here, we're going to use a spark plug, that is this item here, to create a spark. In fact, we may even see that. You can see it here. We're creating a spark and we are going to ignite that air-fuel mixture. So now we're going to burn the fuel and the oxygen in the air. We have everything we need for combustion: oxygen, heat, and fuel. And we even have a source of ignition. So the spark from the spark plug ignites the fuel within the air-fuel mixture. Remember, it's very hot in here now. We've got quite a high pressure as well. We get a controlled explosion and we get combustion. And because this is happening internally, we have internal combustion. In other words, an internal combustion engine. Here's our large explosion. When we have that large explosion, let me back it up slightly. Explosion, huge increase in pressure, huge increase in temperature, and we're going to force that piston downwards. As the piston goes downwards or travels towards the crankshaft, we're going to uncover an exhaust gas discharge port. That is this port here. You can see now we're discharging the exhaust gas. The reason we're discharging the exhaust gas is because we've burnt all of the fuel and we've taken all of that chemical energy and we're turning it into mechanical energy, which is rotating the crankshaft. So within a very short space of time, we've managed to transfer that energy to the crankshaft. We'll get rid of the exhaust gas. That will just come out of our exhaust gas manifold or tailpipe. And the process is ready to repeat. Let's just see that happening again. Piston comes down and we can already see we are now allowing air and fuel into the combustion space again. And we can compress all that. And as it moves upwards, we're going to cover up the transfer port. And if we zoom in here, we can actually see that a little bit later, we cover up the exhaust gas port. Normally, the exhaust gas port would be slightly lower down so we don't get too much waste, specifically air and fuel that's discharged out of the exhaust gas port when it shouldn't be. But now the remainder of the air and fuel will again be compressed. We'll get ignition, and then the piston will move back down again. Now, we've talked about bottom dead center and top dead center. Let me introduce you to a couple of other terms. The reason this engine is called a two-stroke engine is because whenever the piston travels from top dead center to bottom dead center, let's just do that right now, that is referred to as one stroke. When we travel from bottom dead center to top dead center, that is referred to also as a stroke. So whenever we go from TDC to BDC or BDC to TDC, we complete one stroke. Now you may have noticed that we complete an entire combustion cycle in two strokes. The piston went down and then up, and then we repeated the cycle again. All internal combustion engines contain 4 main parts to each of their combustion cycles. Let's go through each of those parts right now. The part that we're in now, or coming up to, is known as suction, sometimes referred to as intake. If we zoom in, we can see that we're drawing air into the combustion space, so we'll call that our intake or suction part of the cycle. That is stage 1. Once we have sucked in the air and the fuel, we go to our next stage, which is compression. We're now compressing the air and the fuel. That is stage 2. Once we get to top dead center, we get our controlled explosion and we start the power part of the combustion cycle. Finally, we uncover the exhaust gas port and we get to the exhaust stage of the combustion cycle. So, suction, compression, ignition, exhaust. Suction, compression, ignition, exhaust. You can also say suction, compression, power, exhaust, or intake, compression, power, exhaust. Whatever you want to say, those are the 4 stages that make up every internal combustion engine cycle. The only difference between a 2-stroke and a 4-stroke engine is that a 4-stroke engine uses 1 stroke per part of the cycle, and a 2-stroke engine does not. So let's go through it. Suction, compression, ignition, exhaust. And we can repeat that, and we can even speed it up. And that is essentially what is happening within a 2-stroke engine. The reason that two-stroke engines are only used for small engines is simply because they're not as efficient as four-stroke engines. They have only half of the strokes, and that's true. That can be seen as a good thing because we want to repeat the combustion cycle as much as possible. Unfortunately, they actually waste quite a lot of air and fuel, especially during this changeover period when the piston covers up the air and fuel inlet and then later covers up the exhaust discharge outlet. So we have a bit of a loss there with the air and fuel travelling out of the exhaust ports. But the power stroke itself is also incredibly small. If we look here, ignition, expansion, exhaust, the power stroke is very small. It is literally only, let's go back up to top dead center. Here it comes. Our power stroke is more or less from this point where my mouse is now down to here. As soon as we uncover the exhaust gas port, the pressure in the combustion space drops dramatically, and essentially we've extracted as much energy out of the power stroke as we're going to get. With four-stroke engines, it's possible to make the power stroke a lot longer, and you can also time when air and fuel is let into the combustion space much more precisely, and when exhaust gas is let out of the combustion space. So all of these factors make the four-stroke engine more efficient than the two-stroke engine. This is despite the fact that the four-stroke requires twice as many strokes per combustion cycle, and four-stroke engines have many more components compared to a two-stroke engine. So I hope you now know how a two-stroke engine works. Let's now go and have a look at how a four-stroke engine works.